Hello, what's up, guys? We are finally back after what, 1 year of hiatus. We are here to bring you the best gaming podcast in India. Well, joining me is Udit. Of course, he is a game developer and like a critic and a Keanu Reeves impersonator from India.
You, thanks for having me, dude. You know what this reminds me of? This reunion? You
Yeah.
know, One Piece when they all come back together and everybody looks completely different, right?
I haven't seen One Piece, so I have no idea.
No, but
Yeah,
it
everyone.
exactly feels like that. You're like that reunion and you just feel good and you're like, where has everybody been and everything? And you're like, wow, you guys have been places.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's nice
In
to
places.
finally be together with you guys again. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah. And also joining me is Ratz. What? Former streamer, again streamer,
I
former
mean,
YouTube
no,
streamer,
no. So
now Twitch streamer.
if I was to give like a formal introduction to myself, I wrote content for esports for like a year and a half. Then I became a caster. I did some streaming for
Hey,
LXG. I
everyone knows
was an
you.
admin.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
everyone knows me. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I don't think I need to give an introduction. But just to add on to Udit's point, right? Like what he said, like this reunion. It honestly reminds me of like the opening of Umbrella Academy season 1, where the entire family comes together for the funeral of someone. But here, no, we're here together for the rebirth of something that we used to do for fun a year back, and those were good times. Let's be honest, those were
Rebirth.
really.
We can just say that Arnab died and that's why he's not here and we're
Arnab died.
But
Great.
you know,
Let's put
joke.
a RIP face of Arnab aside as a memoriam for the rest
Yeah,
of the podcast.
yeah, yeah. We can definitely do that. So
We'll have a
yeah,
revival arc sometime later.
yeah. Let me just see. We are supposed to talk about some topics. Basically, we aren't going to do a very heavy podcast. We are going to do a very like casual podcast. This is going to be one of the more casual podcasts in general. I think that's how all of us likes it. I guess, right, guys?
It's chill.
Yeah, chill. So what are the topics? Basically, we will be discussing some of the new games that are out and what are the new games coming out. A lot of new games got showcased yesterday. We are recording this on a Sunday, so we saw DC Fandom yesterday, and we had the showcase of Gotham Knights and also a cinematic trailer for Suicide Squad game, which we'll talk about later on. And then we'll talk about the state of the industry, which like India internationally. Just skim through the basic topic, because when we did the podcast last, which was I think 1.5 years ago, with it, the industry did not look the same in India for
Oh
sure.
Oh,
hell
yeah.
no.
Yeah,
No,
it
not at
was
all.
very different. And lastly, we will talk about next generation, which is just upon us. Interesting topics. Udit is a PlayStation fanboy. I am sort of in the Microsoft, like Xbox side, but I like PlayStation as well. And I don't know what Rats is thinking about next gen. Let's see. We'll get to that topic
I
when we
mean,
get to that.
there are so many games I would like. So yeah, let's get to that topic, and I'll
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
put my thought forward.
So let's start with something basic. Let's start with what games are we playing? Rats.
So no surprise here. I'm playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto, especially the role play. Like I consider myself a role player first, and it's something that I've enjoyed doing. You can make up stories. You can make other people. You can entertain other people. Like it's something that I've always enjoyed doing. But apart from that, I also play like a bit of Osu when I'm bored, and I've been playing the new GTA 4 like the old GTA 4 DLC, which I've never touched upon. So I finished the Lost and the Damned. That was a really cool DLC. The way they portray biker gangs, and I'm gonna play the Ballad of Gay Tony next, and maybe after that, there's a lot of other games I want to focus on. Yakuza Kiwami 2, and a few RPGs like the old original Fable and whatnot, and replaying some old games too. Even the Mafia 1 remake, I think, is just around the corner. I would love to play that when it comes out.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, when is the Mafia one remake coming out? I think
I believe
September.
I don't think it's
September.
September. I think it was said August. Let me just quickly check. It's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be coming out. Give me a second, boys. Yeah, 25th September 2020.
That's just a month away.
Yeah, it's a
Just
month.
a month away.
I
It's
hope they
almost
fix
a
that
month away. Plus
racing
2 days.
level, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be coming for like I think the Xbox, PlayStation, and the PC. So
That
it's
looks so
available. I mean,
good.
it's available for pre-order on Steam, and I really can't
Okay.
wait for it. Wait,
What the
for the game to
fuck,
come out.
dude?
It looked really good, actually, the screenshots and whatnot. Can't wait to like actually play the game and check it out.
So me, you know what? The funny thing is, since I've become a game designer, the one thing I've not been able to do is actually play games. But this year, due to pandemic, somehow I've managed time, and PlayStation has not given me any sort of breathing room at all. It's like,
Yeah,
right, like, this is the year they decided they'll go ham. They're like, fine, we're re-releasing Persona 5 Royal. All right, Final Fantasy 7 is coming. All right, The Last of Us 2 is coming. You're done with that now. Ghost of Tsushima is here.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, can you just fucking give me a break?
yeah, and all of these are really big games, right? These are
They
not
are
small
very-
games.
Oh,
they're,
they're
not,
huge.
they're not 8 to 10 hours long. They're like proper 60-hour investment chunk at minimum.
I think Persona 5 Royal is like 150 plus additional 30 hours
Yeah,
of
I took
content, right?
130 hours in it, and I'm very close to platinuming that game. Like I cleaned that game up almost completely. I was so
Damn.
impressed by how much, because the amount of content that they added in Persona 5 Royal itself is like 30 hours worth. It's like you don't see that much content in an individual game itself. The amount that they added in a re-release, brilliant. But Ghost of Tsushima is something I keep playing every on and off now. They added a new difficulty called Lethal, which is not a mode you want to jump into if you've been playing in, gaps, because that actually requires you to be a little more tactical. Ghost of Tsushima, while it does have a lot of Assassin's Creed type of gameplay, it is very tactical. It is you do need to measure your combos and parry and keep in mind all of that. So if you're taking breaks, it becomes really hard on harder difficulties. But the world is just beautiful. I want to play Raji. That's one game I really want to play, considering I have a Switch. That's something, if I can find time, I'll look into. But yeah, apart from that, nothing much, man. It's just Ghost of Tsushima right now.
Yeah, so and I've been playing a lot of games as usual. I finally played Horizon Zero Dawn. I finished the base game. I haven't touched the DLC yet. I loved the world building. I really hated the characters. I thought the characters were really bland. Um, like I didn't hate the characters. I just thought it was more like a lost opportunity, more like yeah, for Horizon Zero Dawn. But the world building and the way I won't spoil it for people because I feel like a lot of people might still be playing it on PC. Maybe we'll talk about it later next week. But the last twist of what you think
Right.
happens with it
Right.
hit me out of nowhere. I never thought that they would take that direction, which is very interesting. And I don't think any storytelling medium has taken a similar direction other than maybe fantasy, high fantasy stuff, right?
I think it gives a very Nausicaa of the Valley vibes. The thing I think they were going for with the first one was selling the world. I think that was
Yeah.
their major focus. The characters, you can tell, was secondary to them.
Yeah.
I think the sequel is going to be a more personal kind of journey. That's what
Hopefully.
I'm thinking. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully, same here. Because that's one thing I've always preferred. Like, world is brilliant. I always go, but if you ask me between character-driven story and a world-driven story, I always go for character-driven story, which is why those kind of stories hit me harder.
Apart from that, I think I'm playing a lot of games. I played again another PS exclusive that came out on PC, which is Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch. The sequel of which came out on PC long before the prequel, before the original game, which is weird. But the original game is actually much better than Ni no Kuni 2, right? Ni no Kuni 1 was a PS3 seller back in the day, and I saw that game entirely on YouTube, and wonderful. And then I also played a game that just came out of completely nowhere, which is Spiritfarer. Something I
Right.
already discussed with Udit and Ratz separately.
Oh yeah.
But that game just dropped like randomly. It just trailer came out and they're like out today.
Aman, sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I've tried searching for Spiritfire the moment you were gushing about it, but I was not able to find
Spiritfarer.
Spiritfarer. Okay, my
Yeah.
bad.
Farer.
Let me
Yeah.
search for it.
So Spiritfarer trailer dropped. They're like out today, and this is a completely non-violent game. And the premise of this game is that you are the Spiritfarer. From what it looks like, you're in the world of spirits. Like everyone you're meeting and everything you're doing, you're meeting spirits, basically dead people, right? And the idea is some of those spirits they're coming to the end of the term of their spirit life, and you're supposed to ferry them to their end destination as spirits. Like they're supposed to go to the void or something. I don't know how they explained it yet. I played only 7-8 hours, and the game is just so good because the characters are so good, the exploration is so good, and it's a completely non-violent game, and this platforming, right? And it's 2D hand drawn. I have
And
not seen anything like this in a long time. I
I'm
don't
look
think.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
the screenshots. You know what it reminds me of? Captain Claw bit, the art
Yeah,
style.
that was the same thing
Yeah.
I told Aman too when he showed me the game. I was like, this game looks a lot like Claw, right? Like
Yeah.
very,
Right.
the art style is similar, and I loved when I was like, when Aman told me about Spiritfarer. When I googled it and found it on Steam, the first line, as I'm reading it out right now, Spiritfarer is a cozy management game about dying, right? Like it's like
Hey
a cozy
man,
management game, but it's about dying. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, interesting start there to the
done, yeah.
description.
Yeah, and the best part, Rats, is this not a very depressive game or anything
Yeah,
like
it
that, right?
doesn't look like that at all. From the screenshots and the gameplay that you see, it looks more jolly,
It is,
and
it is, it
it's
is, it
very
is more
jolly.
jolly.
Yeah.
But the jolliness hits you really hard towards the end because you're supposed to say goodbye to all of these people who are living on your boat,
Right.
right? That's how the premise is. This is not a spoiler because this premise is set from the very beginning. Like within the first 15 minutes of the game, you know that you're not supposed to get emotionally attached to the people who come to your
True,
boat,
true, yeah.
and you think that this is something going to be like XCOM or something, any management game where you don't get attached to the characters, at least not as much, other than your stats changes and stuff like that. But all of these characters you meet, they have their personal stories, they have their personal wants and desire, they have their personal.
Oh.
It's like Stardew Valley. The best thing I could remember is it's like Stardew Valley. And
Oh.
uh, it makes the game, like through conversations alone, makes you attached to the other characters. And I haven't come to the part where I gifted this game to a friend, and he has actually played it more than I have, and he has actually departed the spirits, quote unquote, to the void. And he said like it hits you really hard towards the end because it's they don't all go in the same way either. It's done
Right.
in a very story centric. This is a very story rich game. Like there's a very lot of focus on character, there's a lot of focus on the world, there's a lot of focus on just the writing aspect. I think it's phenomenal. I don't know. I can't imagine the how underrated this game is, and it's just wonderful. And it's also very optimized. Like you just need 4 GB RAM to run this thing, apparently, nothing else. So
Right.
yeah.
Aman, so I'm looking at the screenshots. If somebody hasn't played, doesn't know anything about Spiritfarer, which I think most people do, what do
Don't.
you think? Yeah, what do you think the gameplay is like? Like I'm seeing a place, and you're probably going from one place to another. But how do you interact, and what's the main gameplay loop? I'm not yet able
So there are
to.
so there are two main gameplay loops, right? One
Right.
gameplay loop is the fact that you're managing people on your boat, right? You're making sure
Mhm.
they're happy, they're getting. So it's a lot like small management sim. You have to make sure all the characters in your boat, they're happy, they're well,
Cool.
they're basically happy, they're eating well, they're doing things, and as their mood meter goes up, they'll do other things in your boat, like bring you, say, resources. They'll do some chores and shit like that. That's the
Got
first
it.
gameplay loop. And the second gameplay loop is platforming. There's a lot of platforming in the game in different ways, right? Resource collection and other things. There's, for example, I'll give you a particular segment of the game, which is there's a segment of the game where you have to collect lightning in the game. Okay, lightning in a bottle.
Okay.
And this is when there's a storm happening around your ship. And as you build in your ship, if you see the building aspect of your ship, you can build houses, right? And you
Right.
can jump on those houses. Those are platforming levels you build for yourself, right?
Oh my.
So
Yeah,
and
that's
and so
interesting.
yeah, that's very interesting. It and then basically you have to go around your ship collecting lightning wherever they strike. So there's like I don't know what you call it. There's like there's a show, this is where the lightning will strike, and you're supposed to go there to collect, like, and the lightning will hit you. If you don't go
Right.
there on time, the lightning will hit the ground and you don't collect the lightning, basically.
Got it.
So you have to hop around, do things. The game is not hard. The reason I say that, because there's no way to fail the game, right?
I think that's not the intention that they want.
Yeah,
I don't think they want you
True,
to,
yeah.
because
yeah,
you said it was a cozy game, right? And making
yeah.
it
It's a
hard would add stress to that. So
I agree,
Exactly,
but
yeah.
the one thing I can remember when I think of this game is Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley, I'm actually writing something about this game, and the closest thing I can remember to is Stardew Valley. But Stardew Valley is actually more hardcore than this game, specifically because Stardew Valley has a calendar. So it makes you make it. It demands a sort of routine for you if you want to optimize your gameplay in Stardew Valley, right? If you want to optimize the year 1, year 2, year 3, and you want to get everything by the end of year 3 and not just postpone it, keep postponing it, and so on. In this game, there is no calendar, so there's no daily routine you have to follow, right? It's not like every morning you wake up at 7 o'clock and by 12 o'clock you have to go at sleep or you will pass out.
right.
So it's a lot more casual in that aspect, right? So in that sense, it's not hard, but in a lot of senses it's also more difficult than Stardew Valley, because if you do want to min-max your playstyle in the game, right, it depends completely on your platforming skills and how you manage certain sections, which is very, very interesting. I really like the gameplay loop, gameplay design, because it's nothing like I've seen it before. It's very casual, but it also rewards people who are being tryhards in the game. It's very nice in that
Right.
way.
So what I'm getting from this is, see, the more I feel there are ways of like designing games. The more conventional one is where all the world and narrative design decisions kind of complement the gameplay. But I believe there's also another thing where the gameplay kind of complements the world and the story and the stuff, right? And that's personally my camp. I think Spiritfarer falls into that camp.
Yeah,
And for me, I like the concept because the journey games have always been from point A to point B, right? And I've always enjoyed when games have taken that to be the format of the gameplay, right? Like that's the loop, right? Spiritfarer, basically take it from point A to point B, and within that journey, how do you interact with people, and how that shapes you and gives you the emotional impact with, so that when you finally reach the destination, you kind of don't want to reach it at the same time.
yeah.
I that's really, that part really got me, and it's really appealing. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm very interested. Like, I hope Spiritfarer does well. I will probably do some kind of like a small video about it, because I feel like it's definitely I should talk about it. It's been that sleeper hit. You know how Sleeping Dogs came out of nowhere
Exactly.
back then. I feel like this is a similar scene where it just dropped out of nowhere. No one knows, but it's like a gem of a game that I think everyone
And
should play.
I think it's coming out at the perfect time, that too, where you
Yeah,
need
yeah.
more, when you want more cozy games like this,
Yeah,
where
it's also very nuanced, and it also talks about death, which is very, you know,
It's a topic
during this
not,
time.
yeah, not many people would, exactly as Aman mentioned, at this time, no one would get into that topic. Plus, making a cozy management game about death, right? I think these guys, they kind of like, they kind of hit the nail in the coffin, like, no pun
Yeah,
intended. But yeah,
that's the thing. That's the thing. I think that's the correct way to say it, because it's about death, but it does not feel depressing. It actually makes you reconcile with people passing away, and if you've lost someone during these times, and there's a way to cope. I think this is a absolutely amazing game to
gives me
um
yeah, gives me mushishi vibes, where it's like it's more contemplative than depressing. You know how they
yeah,
say, right? Do not let your mind be consumed by fear or anger. Everything is only as it is. That's what I feel. This is going by the route.
yeah, yeah. Okay, let's move to the next topics. Let's talk about what happened yesterday, which is DC Fandom. Ratz. I know me and Udit have
I
watched it.
I
Ratz.
have I haven't see I've heard the like what happened, like they showed I think the new Suicide Squad game, Kill the Justice
Yeah,
League. They showed the new Batman, I
Batman.
think Robert Pattinson, the same guy who played Cedric Diggory from Harry Potter and the main star for Twilight. He's also playing Bruce. He's playing the main character, right? Like, he's playing the lead role,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right. And
yeah.
I saw some screenshots too, and it looked menacing as hell. I am not gonna lie, and it was pretty cool. Like, of course, I haven't seen it yet.
Let's
Or
talk about Gotham Knights. Udit.
Gotham Knights first. Okay, man. Aman, you go ahead, because you're, I think, a huge Arkham fan, right?
I'm an Arkham fan, but I don't read the comics as much, so I think Udit will know more about the comics. But I do know more about this game, Gotham Knights, specifically because I asked around, what is the story about Court of Owls? What
I
is
think it's a
happening?
coat of owls.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
The premise is very interesting. Basically, Batman is dead. It
Oh.
starts off. So the entire trailer starts off with the saying that Batman is dead. This is Code Black or Code Black. I think he says it, which is he blew up his Batcave, and along with that, apparently he is dead as well. There's like a recorded transmission that goes to all his Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Batwoman, right? And basically, Batman in his last message says he's dead. Blew up the Batcave. You guys take over. You guys will protect Gotham, and then that's how the story starts. And I think that's a very interesting way to go.
Right.
But given the fact that I think the Arkham series was a proper closure to the Batman, story. Like
Right.
Batman Arkham. What was the first one? Arkham Asylum, then Arkham
Arkham
City, then
Asylum.
Arkham Knight. Right?
Yes.
I think it
Yeah.
was a perfect loop. This is not in continuation with that story. This is a completely different reboot, but this is like a soft reboot. They go off certain
It's in the same
topics.
world though, right? It's the
No,
same.
no,
It's
no,
not.
no. It's not the same world. It's not the same world. They don't do this in the same world. This has already been confirmed on Twitter. This is not the world of Arkham Knight. Let's just put it this way. There's certain tidbits I will go into this game where
Right.
if you've seen the gameplay, it's already mentioned. But yeah, it's not set in the same world.
Is it okay if we can pull up the gameplay here and play it?
Sure. I think that's good.
Yeah, I can. Give me one
Before
sec.
that, I want to tell when I first realized that the gameplay was out, there was a lot of outrage that people had that Batman was dead and they were playing somebody that was not Batman because that's what they've been wanting all this time. And I'm like, we've had 4 games as Batman, right? And first of all, I don't think Batman is going to be permanently dead. I
No, that's something I'll get into. That's
yeah
something I'll get
that's-
into.
so
Yeah.
but it sets a good narrative premise for you to get for a 4 player gameplay kind of thing, right? And second thing that interests me is Code of the Owls, which is something that the Batman fans are very very interested. I've not read the thing, but I know basic premise where Code of the Owls is basically, I think these kind of group who have been before Batman, that what I remember is these people, they're like a bunch of badass ninja kind of people who have been doing this stuff before Batman, and they come, they come to Gotham and they tell Batman, hey man, you think you're the big shit? You're not. Like, we've been doing this for a long fucking time. Let's put you in your place. That's my cursory knowledge of this. I need to read that more, but it has been one of the most hyped things among the Batman comic fans. So to see
Yeah.
that on the
Yeah.
screen, Batman fans are having a field day with that.
Yeah. So who
and-
wants story time? Who wants story time? I
All right.
actually know basic premise.
Before story time, I've got the gameplay walkthrough trailer open. Like whenever you guys need, I can just play it. All right.
Right.
All right. I'm just gonna share the screen. Do confirm if you guys can see it.
We can see it.
Right. You guys can see it. I've also put in volume like to a min, so you guys can check it out.
Very cool, very cool.
All right. Playing it. Let's go.
All right, I'm on story time.
Oh, you want me to say the story time about like?
Or,
why this is it?
actually, let's look at the gameplay. All right, to the people, we're a little rough with this because this is the first time we're doing this, but
It's fine. Editing. Power of method. Power of editing.
what could be a little lower, Ratz?
Too many. We can't respond anymore. Where the hell is our backup?
Hi,
That's-
I'm Patrick Redding, creative director
Yeah?
of Gotham Knights.
Volume could be a little
On behalf
lower.
of the whole
A little
team
lower,
at WB
okay.
Games,
Yeah. You know what I really enjoy about the Arkham games is the art direction, more than the graphics, right?
Causing this is
The
localized.
art
Yeah.
direction in these games has always
Look
been.
at a short clip from one of
Yeah,
Gotham
it's
Knights'
not realistic, but
in
it
a
goes for
pre-alpha.
that uncanny valley look.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
This
It
mission is
screams
happening
Gotham, man. Like, for me.
Exactly. Yeah. The same. I'm getting the same vibes
a dozen
too.
or so hours into her character.
Like there's full chaos all over. It's got the dark, gloomy environment with a bit. I think it's being under attack right now by some lightning dude.
So this is a weather.
I think this is Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
I think Mr. Freeze.
basically trying to freeze Gotham. And one immediate change you will see in the game right now, if you guys are seeing the gameplay trailer, is their civilians, which wasn't
Right.
there in
Oh,
any of the
right, yeah.
Arkham series.
Exactly.
And they were never civilians before. At least we never saw them openly roaming around. So this is
Right.
all of the game.
Arkham Knights. One of the biggest criticisms I remember when that game came out
Everything
that
was
there
empty.
yeah, everything was empty. It did not feel like a lived-in city, even though they tried to explain the entire thing away, saying that everyone's evacuated and they're not living in the city anymore. But it didn't make sense. It was all happening in a single night, right? But so this is very interesting to see civilian cars smashing.
Yeah. Sorry, finish you. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, like it's just interesting to see civilians
Yeah.
walking around, cars smashing.
Yeah, I wanted to stress on that point exactly because Arkham games have always narratively built into that key why the thing is empty, and they basically wanted to create it as a playground for you to fight with people, and they didn't want civilians in that, and they narratively smartly built into that. I always appreciated that, but I think
It also felt like bad, like
Yeah.
it missed the opportunity. I think in a way.
right. I think Spider-Man kind of changed that because Spider-Man had this whole New York with civilians as well. But Spider-Man also put you into certain scenarios where it was like the enemies are in a place and the civilians are in a different place. Many you had your occasional robberies which took place where civilians were around, but this civilians seem to be caught right in the middle of the action, which is very interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually love the gameplay right now. It's so nice. It feels smooth, when you're comboing with. I know a lot of my friends who would enjoy this game, like
Yeah,
including
it's
my
double player
brother.
co-op. It's not 4-player co-op.
Oh.
It's double player co-op.
I think
So,
then two people can switch between characters, I suppose.
I guess they haven't said much, but I guess that should be possible. At least not between missions, I imagine. But before missions, you can like select characters and then go into. A mission.
I see. They separated two people. That's wonky. Robin's costume is whack, dude.
Oh, so these are upgraded costumes. If you can see this, this is not
Right.
what was revealed yesterday in the
Right.
cinematic trailer. Cinematic, like I am guessing there are multiple skins, which is fine. We had same things in Arkham Knight as well and other Arkham games. But it's nice. Like this costume of Robin looks more along the lines of Red Hood, right?
Right. Is it Tim Drake or is it Dick Grayson who's this?
This is Tim Drake.
Oh, that's
is
my
Tim
favorite
Drake.
Robin.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just slightly upset we did not get Damian Wayne.
I think Damian Wayne will be in the sequel or something because this makes a perfect that the Batman is dead, right? Makes a perfect premise because that's what happened in the comics when Batman was dead. Damian Wayne became the next Batman, and I think no, sorry, was it Damian Wayne became Robin, and Dick Grayson became the Batman, and it formed an interesting dynamic where Dick Grayson was the more jolly kind of Batman, and Damian Wayne was a very serious kind of Robin. So I think they'll go that direction.
But Tim Drake is who's the other guy?
Damian Wayne was what I was talking, not Tim Drake.
No.
Tim Drake is Red Hood. Dick
There is
Grayson,
Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is also here. Dick Grayson is here in the form of
Nightwing.
Nightwing. Yes.
Yes.
And then Red Hood is who? I forget.
Red Hood is Tim Drake. Red Hood is Tim Drake.
This is not Tim Drake though. I think Tim Drake is the Robin. Red Hood is then someone else. I keep forgetting. I mix up the names.
No, because
My
I'm
bad.
pretty sure Tim Drake is the guy who becomes Red Hood.
Okay.
This could be him before Red Hood. I don't know what's happening. So, Dick Grayson starts off with Nightwing, and when Batman dies, right? Dick Grayson becomes Batman. And if I'm not wrong, Damian Wayne becomes Robin.
Right.
They could be going down that route. What I want to say is about the unlock costumes. I hope they go the Spider-Man route where you unlock the costumes in-game after completing side missions.
Yeah, I
just-
think they will go that way.
Yeah,
I
man.
think they will go that way because that was the scene in all the other Arkham games. I
Right.
think if they go a different way, there will be immediately a lot of outreach. Like if they try to sell it through microtransactions, like maybe Marvel Avengers is doing. Right. So this is the Mr. Freeze boss fight that we're gonna see
Exactly.
right now, right? And it's done in a very Destiny-esque, which is very interesting how they do
Right.
it.
So now
the-
we're gonna know this is a different Mr. Freeze because in Arkham Asylum he was completely
no.
different.
So, yeah, this is not the same universe, but it's same Mr. Freeze. It's like same
Design.
feel, design, almost in a lot of ways. The slight changes, of course.
Yeah, he looks very simple.
Yeah,
He looks.
they haven't changed much, but it's different universe. That was confirmed over Twitter.
And this kind of confuses me.
And I hope like they change the lines for parkour a little. Nope.
No, I'm just too into the gameplay right now. Sorry if I was a bit too
No,
silent.
I can see.
No.
I'm looking at your face right now, and you're like, you have this stupid smile on your face.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. It's been
It looks
a
very nice. It looks nice. And if you notice, Udit, they have
Huh?
removed the free flow combat from Arkham series.
Element of God.
Oh, I'm so glad. Because as good as that combat was, it almost felt like you were doing it in autopilot after a while.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
If you become good at Arkham games, there's no way you can be defeated, right? Because
Right.
it's just it's like a rhythm that you go into, and once you get into that rhythm, there's barely anything that can defeat you. Like the
Because
fodder really feel like fodder. There's no challenge at all.
once you kind of look from outside, you kind of see how the game is designed, right? It's like all the
See
enemies
this
kind
now.
of-
See this part. See this part. This is the most interesting part. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, the post credits.
No. Oh wait.
There wasn't any
Oh
post
wait.
credits.
There was a. Oh shit. That was in the cinematic trailer. My bad.
Oh, you want to play it?
Yeah.
Or-
No, you can play it. Yeah, cinematic trailer I actually like much more than the gameplay. I just
I don't know if that's a
Bat-
compliment.
Batman. No, it's not even. It's just a personal preference. Batman games. I have always liked watching their cinematic trailer and their CGI stuff.
I
I don't
see.
know why. Like it's something I can repeat watch just because it's Batman. I think I will do the same if a Superman similar games or any superhero game similar comes out. I think there's like a.
When can we get a good Superman game where Superman is actually Superman, right? Like when he's actually not a weird reincarnation, but justice to the character, man. Like I'm waiting. Why can't you get the quintessential superhero, right?
Yeah. But I think making a Superman game is the biggest difficulty is who will you make the enemy? You're just OP, dude.
I want to talk about that when we talk about the Suicide Squad trailer, which is why I think that's such a smart move.
Yeah. Yeah. You make him the enemy rather than
Yeah.
the protagonist, which is very interesting. Yeah.
Wow, what happened to his face?
This is Red Hood. This is after
that makes-
Joker thrashes
Oh, after
him.
Joker gave him the Glasgow smile.
Yeah, and this is after he even reconciles with the Bat family and then starts taking up Batman's non-lethal approach. So he's good Red Hood now.
Redemption arc, Zuko right here.
No, there's no redemption arc. The redemption arc is done for Red Hood.
Oh.
He's already inside the Bat family and he's like made his amendments and everything. So he's
Nightwing
happy.
boy.
Some of the technology
Yeah.
is outdated, but it has the
Then
guaranteed
this
to
Robin,
all my files.
Tim Drake.
And they got all the Robins. They got all the 3 Robins here.
Yeah.
I know you'll keep Gotham safe.
I think they haven't
luck.
deemed
Oh,
it-
sorry. I confused Tim Drake with Jason Todd. I'm so sorry. Yes, Tim Drake,
Yes.
Jason Todd. Sorry,
Yes,
my bad.
Jason
my
Todd
bad.
is Red Hood. I keep
Oh, no.
forgetting.
Oh, the fans are gonna kill me.
Yeah,
There's too many Robins, dude.
Yeah, the 4 or 5 Robins. How many? It's going to be about their 5th Robin soon.
I mean, Batman likes having kids as his sidekicks. I'm like, sorry. People better start calling out Batman on what his fetish is, dude. They're like, hey, you had a traumatic childhood and you're still a teenager. Let's go fight crime.
So they do this part very nicely. I feel like
Yeah, introducing each character is well done. This
Oh
is
man, I love this.
who's
Nightwing.
Nightwing, right?
Yeah.
And Red Hood.
My favorite, Jason,
there we go. The guns.
has a Deathstroke vibe.
Yeah, he's
He
full
does,
Deathstroke. Right?
yeah.
I am really interested to play as Batwoman and Red Hood personally.
Red Hood, dude. Red Hood is my guy.
Yeah. Just shoot everyone.
He's like, Fuck gun control.
Ooh, that was cool.
I'll talk about this particular scene.
Oh, double team. Oh, can we actually do that as 2 players?
Yeah,
though?
You
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
they
you
did
can.
show it in the
That is
gameplay.
So hype. Oh, I'm super interested in how those dual combos are gonna play out.
No, this is the most
That
interesting
was.
This logo though, dude. This is a great logo.
part. See this.
No one talks about them.
Night of the Code of Owls. Huh? Nah, I love that
No
design,
whisper
dude.
word is said.
Code of Owls. Again, the aesthetics, dude. The art style of these things.
For if you try to crush them,
10 out of 10.
Yeah. Very Gotham.
the town
Very good.
strikes you dead.
Was that Scarecrow?
No, that was the
Those
Code
are
of the Owls.
talents. That's the
The
talents. for
talent,
Code of
okay,
Owls.
okay.
I'll talk about it. So, okay, story time. Story time. Basically, people who have read the comics have told me these things. So yeah, a little spoiler alert for anyone who wants to go into this game completely blind. I will spoil things from the comics slightly, I guess. So yeah, the story for the Code of the Owls is the fact that Batman discovers this secretive organization inside Gotham. That's the Code of the Owls, and he doesn't know that they existed. And he is supposed to be the person that who knows Gotham inside and out. Apparently, these guys in Code of the Owls, basically, the story is these guys were underneath the Batman's nose for the entire time, right? And he never knew about them. And he discovers them and apparently gets into trouble because these guys are more powerful than he realized, and then that's why he has to blow up his mansion and stuff, right? Later on you get to find, this is the spoilery part, that Batman is alive, and he's apparently been brainwashed and turned into a talon for the Court of the Owls, right? So the talons are the assassins for the Code of the Owls. They're basically like the henchmen or the thugs, right? So Batman is turned into one of those henchmen, and this leaderboard, like a boardroom, like high counselors or whatever you want to call them from the Code of Owls, who I don't know the real identities because I haven't read the comics, but they play an important role. And the entire premise is the fact that even though Batman is supposed to know everything about Gotham, these guys could
These guys
operate
have been.
these guys could operate underneath Batman's nose, completely free reign, and they have been doing so for much longer than Batman existed apparently in Gotham, right? So there might be flashbacks of Barbara Gordon and all the others going back to previous Gotham and showing how Gotham was before Batman took over and what the roles of these talents are. Apparently there might be a lot of flashbacks. So that's the entire premise, that these guys could exist and control and be one step ahead of Batman, even though they're working in Batman's territory. So yeah, that's the most interesting part of the story. And you're not supposed to. So in all likeliness, if this story is following the comic books, you will fight Batman. You will
I
not know
was
your.
gonna say that. I'm like, I wonder who the final boss is going to be. It's going to
I
be
don't
Batman.
think. I don't think it'll be Batman as the final boss. I
It'll
think
be
he
one
will go-
before that, and then
Yeah.
Yeah. Something similar to what Arkham Knight did, I think.
right.
Right? Where Red Hood is not the final boss, but he is one of the main antagonists, right? So it's very interesting how they're going about this. I am really, really interested. Particular things that I'm very hyped about. I know a lot of people are upset that the free flow combat is gone, but I'm not. I thought that was
I never enjoyed that, especially after Spider-Man, which actually takes a lot of skill to play, right? That the free flow combat kind of feels very, very basic as just a thing to get you to, it felt like a carnival kind of thing just to see Batman do cool shit. It never felt like
yeah. I've played a lot of free flow combat games. I think Arkham series was the main thing. Then there was Mad Max, which was also same. That there was Shadow of Mordor, which had the same mechanic, and then a few others. But it always, I remember the one thing, that there was no challenge to these games after a certain point. right? There's like you can do damage and stuff, but like it's basically like you know exactly when to.
It's the
like,
repetitive basically.
Yeah, it's very repetitive. It's not challenging at all. There's very
Remove
little. Yeah.
Removing focus from that, but to stress on the themes of this game, I think it's especially rich that we have the 4 players and not Batman. Because Code of the Owls worked as an organization, right? The reason they're strong is because they're so tightly knit, and they're always going to be better than one person. So I think it's again thematically rich that the Bat family has to assemble and work as a team to take down the Code of Owls. So it's like the Bat family being Gotham Knights versus the Code of the Owls. I think that's a very, very strong clash.
And they're going for this whole Illuminati vibe, which I'm
Yes,
very interested. Illuminati plus horror kind of genre, which is very interesting, very nice. I am very excited.
Let's talk about the next thing.
Yeah, Suicide Squad game. Suicide Squad game. Why did they make Harley Quinn so ugly? Like my only.
I keep telling you, this is what it's a cautionary tale. This is what getting messed up in the head will eventually
You can play the Ratz. You can play the game cinematic trailer. They have.
I am just.
I hope
that
shows a lot.
I hope I had the right trailer open, right? Because I saw like a lot of them, and this is the one from the official DC.
Hey man, she was ugly on the inside. Now she's ugly on the outside as well. I think it fits.
Wow.
So I want to say how this CG actually reveals a lot, even though this is CG, particularly in the way how the characters will behave. We see the 4 main characters, and we say their personality in the CGI, which is something we don't really see in a lot of CGI trailers. Like there's the personality strikes out immediately, and it's very nice.
Again,
It's
so
very
much
nice.
confidence in this, man.
Yeah. There's just it strikes it oozes that personality from the straightforward like the.
What the Avengers trailers were lacking, like you're
the same way Avengers feels very plasticky and feels like a very average, just pushed out. Here's an Avengers game. This feels like this was made with a lot of thought and story behind it. Very interesting dialogues, very interesting character, how they're behaving, everything.
We lost the target. Repeat.
Oh yeah, now I know what you guys are talking about. Damn, what the fuck did they just do? I'm sorry for my language, but
Don't worry.
man.
I mean, it's fine.
I mean it's fine, but I mean
I
wish they
don't
were-
find her that ugly, to be honest, very honest. And it's not like
I because I kind of expected like the Harley Quinn kind of design.
I believe I can translate.
And-
Boomerang has a concussion from the enemy you missed in our
I
last
think
encounter.
Rat's hung. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Got fixed.
Those teeth are
Yeah,
sharp
no,
in your
it's
eyes,
fixed
sharp
now.
man.
Oh, okay.
I'm just glad people are not being attracted to Harley.
This is the best part. Can you just reverse like 5 seconds and show this part again?
I love this.
Like, this is the best part of the trailer. Easily, like, okay, this stole the trailer
Yes,
for
those
me.
teeth are sharper than your eyes, shark man. I never
Never miss.
Never miss. Never shut up about it.
Task Force X. Alpha target is
This is what I was missing in the Suicide Squad movie, man.
Yes.
And the reason I'm telling is it's so perfectly timed that the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie trailer also came out, and this dropped out. It's like they were working in tandem. For the first time, DC had things planned.
Yeah. And I really like how Boomerang moves around. It's very interesting. Like he's teleporting using the Boomerang.
Right.
I hope that's done very
It
well.
is very similar to Ratz.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 15. Noctis.
Oh right. I was trying to find the relation to that. It was very similar to that. The armstick. Armistice. Yeah, Armbringer. Yeah, it's been a while since I played 15. I gotta play that with like my.
It reminds me of that.
Build. Yeah, it was really cool though. Like the way Boomerang moves. I think if all these 4 guys are playable characters and you can decide to progress with any one of them, like how you can basically play the story as any one of them, like similar to other games out there. I think I'd play Boomerang like the most.
I'll play Shark Boy, dude. I'm playing the Shark dude. I'm so glad he's in the movie as well, man.
Shark Boy reminds me of Drax from Marvel.
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure this was James Gunn's idea to put this guy in.
Oh, so good, so good. I love.
Deathstroke is in this.
No, not Deathstroke. That's Deadshot.
That's Deadshot, sorry.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Well, that should knock a few years off the old sentence.
That's reminding me of something.
He doesn't look all that bad, dude. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Waller's stupid alpha.
I think it's
Good
because
look
she's
out.
tied her hair. She's tied her hair, yeah.
The pony, yeah, I feel like that.
I like how Shaka didn't give a shit, you know, when he got hit by that.
Superman!
Oh, look, it's Superman. The mighty Superman has just rescued that pilot.
What a
I'm pretty sure. Listen though, if
I really like Sharkai's dialogues. I don't know why.
Shaka he's the boss, dude.
No.
You guys are fucked. And like that was the moment they realized they're fucked.
Yeah.
So, figure out who we're killing yet?
That's
That was
best part.
good. That was good.
The humor is just so.
On
Even
point,
that-
dude.
The humor is just so on point, dude. Like this, just so good, so good. I can't wait to see more.
Bro, and this is what I said, right?
That was fun. That was actually a good trailer.
How do you turn the biggest problem of not making Superman not being able to make a Superman game because he's so overpowered?
Make him a villain.
In video game format, that's how it works, right? Make him the boss, and that's immediately you have an immediate threat that fits so well in the Suicide Squad thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna kill the entire Justice League after this. So how are you gonna go against Batman? How are you gonna go against all of that?
Yeah. So there are some leaks around this game. I don't know how accurate those leaks are because we are still 2 years away from this game. So it might all change. But apparently you cannot kill the big three or big four, I think, which is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. I think that's whom you cannot kill. You have to capture, right? And the other people you can capture or kill. Apparently, that's how the route they're taking. Initially, when they, that's fine. I think because initially when they announced the game, I did not think Brainiac would be involved controlling. Like right now, it's very visible that Brainiac is controlling Superman, and it's not evil Superman or anything like that.
Right.
Initially, I thought it might be evil Superman, and like just this is a different multiverse where Suicide Squad are actually sort of good guys. They're not as bad, but they're not taking that route. They're like, no, Suicide Squad is bad. It's just the Justice League have lost and they are like out of control because of Brainiac, which is very interesting premise to take. Very nice gameplay. Hopefully, I really like the characters.
I love the dialogue actually. The dialogue from each of the characters is so fun.
That's the thing. I don't think there has been another cinematic trailer I can recall in a similar vein where they showcase the characters in such a well way with the dialogues.
I think this reminds me of Sunset Overdrive a bit.
Yeah, but Sunset Overdrive did not translate into a really good game in comparison.
I think Borderlands
I've
because
not seen any gameplay to be honest.
I mean, what about Borderlands? Because each character.
Oh yeah, actually, very Borderlands.
It's very like dialogue-wise, it's very Borderlandsy where everyone's just having fun and just doing their own thing while also killing all the bad guys around. It kind of felt like that.
True, but Borderlands is a very RPG centric thing. I hope.
No, I know. I'm just talking about like in terms of the dialogue alone, right?
Right.
In terms of the dialogue, it felt like that. Like towards the end, right? You see Boomerang ask like, "So who are we trying to kill?" They all point at Superman. He's like, "Oh, like it."
You're right. That is a proper Borderlands moment.
Yeah, that was a Borderlands moment.
Thing is, I don't think we have had a game where they do the humor at this on point. I can't recall. Borderlands is very crass humor, like very on your face kind of stupid humor, right?
I would almost disagree with you on that because if you see Tales of Borderlands,
I haven't played that.
Yeah, which is written by Telltale, which it is really, really, really well written.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good humor. I'm just saying that's not a knock on this. That I disagree with the fact that we've not seen something like this. There's plenty exists, and as I say, this feels more like Borderlands. What I'm more impressed about is that this is doing what Suicide Squad movie missed. Is that every time you asked in the Suicide Squad, I was like, why did you get these people? when the Justice League exists, right? Like when they are actual good superheroes, there is no need for you to get a bunch of supervillains, right?
Yeah.
This fixes that issue where
Yeah.
you're like,
With the story making.
the heroes are no longer reliable, right? Like the heroes are absolutely not reliable. They're the ones who are you fighting against. So who are you going to turn to? Suicide Squad. They're a bunch of shit, but it's like they're the last hope you have, right? So that's what I found more interesting than actually the humor.
Yeah, I found the characters very appealing. I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about Shark Man. I think it's called Shark Man.
Neither do I, but I love that.
Yeah, I love that. I love the whole
Jeez.
Drax. Like I immediately recall Drax from MCU, and that's incredible. Like I really want to see more about this.
He's
game,
in the next movie as well, in the Suicide Squad 2 movie as well.
Oh,
right.
nice.
I haven't actually seen the trailer for that.
James Gunn is doing the Suicide Squad 2 movie. That's why I'm like super it's the same Guardians of Galaxy guy making Suicide Squad. And I'm like, he must have looked into the game as well. He must have consulted exchanged notes with Rocksteady. Because it seems the movie, the sequel, and this game, they feel tonally very much similar and consistent. And the characters are almost same as well in the behavior. So I feel like DC had this plan. They're like, the reason Rocksteady was keeping quiet so long was like, we'll release everything in one go. This, for the first time, giving props to DC for having this shit planned in advance.
Yeah. It's very nice. They revealed like small concept trailer for Black Adam. It's not much, but they basically just announced it, like, Black Adam is coming, which is fine. Like, just gave like an origin story. 5,000 years ago, I was trapped, betrayed, blah blah blah. 5,000 later, I'm again free and I'll kill everyone, blah blah blah. Which is fine. It's like The Rock as Black Adam. Cool.
Right.
What else? What they revealed Batman movie?
Boy! Well, you can't just say what else. They just released a Batman movie trailer.
they showcased Batman movie. I like.
Don't pass it off as though it was just some other thing.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked. This looks like Batman before he grows up. Right?
It's actually the second year of Batman, so he's been Batman. So it's not an origin story. But it's this. But you know, I'm a Marvel guy. But god damn it, I love one of my favorite genre is crime drama. Right? That's probably my favorite kind of genre, murder mysteries. And this one looks like not only is it honoring Nolan's kind of Batman, but it's also going with David Fincher's kind of sense of direction. Seven, right? This feels like Seven with Batman in it. It's a crime mystery, and finally we have Riddler. Finally we have a villain that is not Joker. Finally.
Who is playing the Riddler? I wanted to ask.
Paul Dino. How do I pronounce that? He's a brilliant actor. He's perfect casting. Like if you check out his other roles, this dude is can really get that creepy vibe in. The thing is, Batman has the biggest rogues gallery, only followed by Spider-Man. And it has always frustrated me how they never explored other villains and like.
They stuck to Joker all the time.
Yeah, the fact that it's Riddler, and Riddler makes the most sense for a murder mystery. He's leaving all these clues, and he's like completely disfiguring people in a very, very Seven kind of way, right? And Batman is actually being a detective this time, right? You can see him walking into everybody's like, oh shit, it's this guy, right? And it's like you can see him working with the police, working on the case together. And then the most interesting part is they finally get that Batman is not just a super, he's fucking insane. Right? He's insane. People are scared of him. Like, that one beatdown. That that guy. Ratz, you need to see this. Pull up the trailer. You need to see this beatdown.
Alright, I'm gonna watch this.
I was just here. I was like, oh, he's still going on. Oh my god, he's already dead.
The best part of that beatdown is he's still going on, right?
Yeah,
and I loved it. That's when I realized that this is early Batman, right? This is like less matured. He's like more just beat the crap out of people so they can't like lift a finger.
You can tell this guy needs therapy more than anything. Right? He's just like going nuts. I'm like, fuck Joker, fuck it. This guy is the one you need to put behind bars. Which has actually always been Batman. He was always insane. A major theory was Batman's insanity brought in all the villains. Right?
They do it very well.
Just the mood of this man.
Yeah. It's very dark. It's much more dark than the previous.
It is
and
literally
it's dark, and it's
okay, this is straight out of 7.
way previously done.
And Jeffrey Wright as Gordon is really good casting in my opinion. By the way, Jeffrey Wright in Last of Us 2 is also really good.
This is Gordon, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is Gordon. He's wearing boots, so you can tell he's not like a veteran Batman. He's wearing normal boots.
Let's play a game.
He just started off.
Yeah, it's his second year technically.
Mean anything to you?
It's not an origin story, but it's still rough. I'm not a fan of the call though.
The helmet.
The helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that they put the mascara on because earlier iterations always had it, but it always disappears.
Why is he writing to you?
Punk rock Bruce Wayne hype.
I want to see a good Batman Beyond. I feel like
Totally.
Pattinson will make a really good Batman Beyond.
This is Joker's gang. You can tell they have the face print and everything. And he's fighting the cops. Why is he fighting the Catwoman?
Yeah.
This part.
Damn.
This Batman ain't fucking around. Like, look at like, finally people actually saying that this guy is crazy.
You're part of this too. How am I part of it? You'll see.
I love this.
I love how they, the question mark
Question
was
mark,
the two.
yeah.
That was good stuff, right?
I'm so used to Jim Carrey's Riddler of an eccentric, and even
Yeah.
Arkham Knights, Arkham series does this, like where the Riddler is very eccentric and very. He's not exactly shown smart. I don't know. The games never do it properly. The games try to make him seem smart, but he fails every time. So it's like he's not smart.
This actually gets him. They actually gone the route of him being this sinister serial killer, right? Who's just fucking with the detectives and stuff like that. That's such a great angle, right? You have a detective mystery and you have a guy who's just fucking with people, right?
Yeah.
By sending them cool vibes, everything on point. This thing is going to be fucking brilliant.
I loved the dark thematics that this Batman had compared to the other ones, because this one, it's like it shows his beginnings, right? So you can show how he went into that. I don't know if you can call it the descent to madness, or how he became who he was. So I think like this movie might show like how Batman, like the Batman we knew back in the other movies, like how his origin story is, like with the Joker, like how we found out how Joker became like this criminally insane psychotic mastermind. Like we found his origin story. So with this, I think we'll find out like more about Batman's origin story too, like portrayed in film.
Yeah, and I think they should just throw Joker in the garbage for the next 3-4 years.
We've seen too many Jokers, dude.
Yeah, too many Jokers.
At this point, like I've seen so many Jokers, I'm like,
do the same thing with Spider-Man. We don't need Green Goblin. Get the other villains.
Yeah.
So on Ratz, your point is, so it won't be origin story in the way Batman Begins is, but it's gonna be similar to Spider-Man Homecoming, where he's become already Batman.
Yeah,
but
he's learning. Yeah, in the learning ropes. Correct. Yeah, he's in that phase. Like he's in level 1. Like it's not like the prologue. It's like more like the chapter 1, chapter 2 of the entire story.
Right, you can see he's fucked in the head. You're like, how does he come out of that? What I love is like they know that the Riddler is fucked up, and the cops is like, we don't know how to handle this. We need somebody who's exactly as messed up as it is Batman. And I like how people are scared of Batman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, after he
Yeah.
beat up that first
Yeah,
crook,
yeah,
the
yeah,
rest
yeah,
of
yeah.
them actually had that fear, that horror. They were like what the hell, you know? They were all like
Even the
super
cops are
scared.
scared of him. They're like,
Yeah,
okay, is he on our side? Who's he? Like, can he, like, don't fuck around with him. He's gonna beat the shit out of you just the same.
it's like in towards the end where they show his face, right, with the whole like when he removes his mask. It's like you can look at his face and it's like you can tell he's been through some shit.
Yeah, dude. This guy is,
Mm.
his repressed rage is just like, he's just waiting to just let it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. I think we've talked about new games, one new movie. Um, I haven't seen the Suicide Squad movie trailer.
It's
So
to sum it up, it's basically an announcement of the
this
characters and the cast. It's
they've
not
shown
a
production stuff.
Yeah.
I
No,
think.
I
Yeah, they
skimmed
haven't.
through the trailer. Yeah, it was just showing the
what
cast.
what you need to get out of it is James Gunn directing, and you
Yeah,
can see he's brought in the same flair from Guardians of Galaxy to Suicide Squad, and that's really exciting. He's made Suicide Squad what it really needed. So hype for that, but I would like to see a
yeah,
story
a
trailer.
lot more. I'm more excited about some of these like game. Like I'm definitely excited to see more gameplay of both Gotham Knights and this one. Gotham Knights looks like something I really want to play after being a fan of the Arkham series. But and I've played Arkham Origins as well, which was the game developed by um, Montreal, WB Montreal, and that was a very well optimized, well handled game. So I expect this to be one of the more optimized games to come out in the future. Yeah, let's move on to the next topic, which is like we won't to stay too much on this topic, probably just 10 minutes because I think Udit is running out of time, and then we'll go quickly to the next topic and try to finish up. But yeah, the idea is let's talk about the state of the industry. It's very different from what it was 2 years ago when we previously did the podcast, which is now it's big and it's full of mobile gamers. What do you think of this?
I love it because it's
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you love
mean,
mobile. Yeah. Our
because
resident mobile dev.
I am working as a game designer for a mobile game
Yeah,
company. So,
yeah,
well, the more mobile gamers technically, the better it is for me.
yeah.
I don't want to speak ill of the industry. I don't think mobile game as a genre is bad. There's some really, really good developers doing some very interesting thing. That said, it's much easier, as with many things, to exploit the market. And
Yeah.
I've seen people get very lazy with the development, and the laziness is being rewarded, which is a shame, really. And the majority of the way that the people have developed games and the way they're like, it's been more catered towards just getting money out of people rather than giving them a good experience is something that I completely abhor. So that's my take on the industry. So good to see that, because it is an entry gateway thing for people to get into games, right? So that's always good. I just wish things got better.
Right. So Ratz,
well, you know, with the industry, I want to like focus on the esports bit for a little bit. Like, see, because 2020, right? Like, there is a pandemic going on. A lot of these gaming cafes have been shut for an extremely long time, and I think some of them have even like announced, like I don't know if they've announced it, but it is known like in within the city limits that they are coming to a close. But despite all that, there are still a lot of organizers, companies out there, hosting like small esports events for community and all that. Like you can see big leagues, and the best part is these leagues are not just catered towards like the main games, which like is your CS:GO and Dota. It's also focusing on other games such as like Rainbow Six Siege,
and newer games like
Valorant.
Valorant, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's just going on, and it's good. You can see a lot of I'm seeing a lot of new players, a lot of new different teams coming up there and just showcasing. So I think this is like a good platform like for people who want to be budding esports gamers. It's similar to the mobile thing as well, because a lot of people have been doing mobile games, and mobile is something very simple. If you have like a good Wi-Fi connection or something, just your phone, you can play online with your friends, like four of you in a room, just play and take part in online tournaments, because there are many out there right now. Like there are so many. So if you're like a caster or you work in the esports thing, like you have like a lot in store for you.
Yeah. The industry has definitely grown bigger, by a lot margin in India, and I think it's like there's a lot more improvement left. I think the ceiling got a lot more higher. Also, we are far from reaching the glass ceiling, quote unquote. But it's interesting. I think this is like a golden age for gaming in India. Whether people believe it or not, there's a lot more investment coming. There's a lot more things happening because of coronavirus. But because of coronavirus, like you said, there's a lot of bad things also happening. Like I know for a fact, some retailers are like gaming retailers, retail focused gaming cafes. They're facing really hard times. I know for a fact some cafes have already shut down since I used to work with cafes back in the day. I know cafes shut down in Guwahati. I know cafes shut down in Kolkata. Um, Cafes moving from their place in Kolkata, stuff like that. Like for example, Zone Cafe is not going to be in a place where it was before, even if it reopens, because rent, all that.
Right.
You'd still have to
Yeah.
pay during pandemic, so they're not going to be in the same place. I don't think they're closing. Just a few days back, we saw Scout OP play with Doctor Disrespect.
That was a
Some
big
people
thing.
call it the biggest collaboration in India, which probably is, but it wasn't very entertaining. I watched the thing.
I mean, like, see, if you take it numbers wise, it was an overall, I think, oh, I think I'm lagging as well.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the biggest collaboration, Doctor Disrespect and Scout OP. It was very big, like for sure, a lot of people watching, but I think they were struggling to entertain, like and mix together, like collab with each other in an entertaining manner. Both of them are good entertainers, but I don't think like the mix was too sudden. Like they didn't like know how to play with each other. But yeah, all nice things.
More than any of that is I'm happy that the recognition of indie developers by international studio, international
Yeah, that's also
big is-
one big thing. Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of indie developers from India getting noticed, not just by international developers, but by our own public.
by our own public.
I
Yes,
think I think the biggest problem was in Indian developers is that Indian developers are not noticed by Indian consumers, game consumers.
exactly. Right.
They're still noticed by outside. I know there were games that were made in India that sold a lot, but people from India didn't buy it. Like the biggest game I can name is Lovely Planet, which was released on Steam, which sold out a lot abroad, but barely sold anything in India. I think Raji is going to change that
Change that.
spectrum a lot, right? And
It's so weird that they went with the Nintendo exclusive. I think I don't know what the thing was.
I don't think it's weird. I think it makes sense. They were looking for some kind of exclusivity with some
I understand. I understand. I understand. I think they needed that. It's just weird. No, I don't see it's weird from their point. I totally understand their point.
from the Indian
I'm-
consumers.
yeah, no, yeah, because Nintendo,
Does not
it's
sell in
not.
India.
Yeah, it's not an official. It doesn't officially sell in India, but it wants the game to be exclusive. I just found that weird. But good on Raji for securing that. What I want to say is to the please, if you find games that are made by Indian developers, indie games, please support it because Indian industry largely is dependent on the mobile gaming crowd because that's easier to get because that's more profitable and more monetizable. But here's the thing with indie games in India and why it's so hard to make them. Most of these games they don't break even. Indie games are a huge risk. They don't break even. They don't do a lot well. And especially the thing is these guys need to keep the lights on. And to keep the lights on, they need to pay their staff and the people in India are very talented. Don't ever underestimate that. But that's the thing. They need to get paid enough for their work, right? And to get there's always this influx, right? There's always this confusion. Should I stay in India and help develop the games here, or should I make better use of my talent and get paid more abroad, which is usually the easier way? They get paid more and fair, more power. That makes a lot of sense, right? If you are that talented, why not get paid more for your work? Right?
Here's the thing. Speaking on that topic, I actually know several developers who have left India exactly for that reason.
Exactly, and that's why because it is so hard to to get this funded, to keep the lights on, to keep when you're supporting the games, you're not supporting the product, you're supporting the people to live. To earn the daily livelihood so that they can do this for you. And the only thing that they can do that is if you support. So this is my very heartfelt plea. When you see games like these, please support it.
And they're
also,
not very costly also in India.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, like, especially during these times, like they could use the support because they're working like day in day out. Like Udit, I think you would know as well. Like you're working from home, yes, but you are still working on. Like I don't think you get like a free weekend or anything like that.
No, I don't get time to play games. Yeah.
I think this is really interesting times because I just want to point out Raji isn't the only Indian indie game coming out. There's actually a lot of Indian indie games coming out on PC in the next 1-2 years, and all of them are pretty high quality. It's pretty high quality, like Raji. Raji is obviously, we've seen trailers, we've seen gameplay, looks very good. Then there is this thing called Bonfire 2, which also looks very nice, something that I'm really excited for. And then there's another game called Ratz, which is by a famous cosplayer is working on it as well, from India, Vijay Sinha. It's a racing game, looks like Mario Kart. I'm very interested for that.
I think we played it, right? We played we played
a little bit. We played a little bit in GC Bangalore.
I'm excited to see how that looks.
Yeah, that looks very interesting. I'm personally hyped because I haven't played a good racing game for a long time, and I think it's these guys have a good opportunity with like a Mario Kart kind of game. And then yeah, these are the three games that I can think of. I know there are quite a few more that's coming out from India, but yeah, we will link it. And there was also a story about Raji, going back to your topic about how Indian indie developers don't make a lot of money. And there's this story by Marco Reactor written by Rishi Alwani where the story goes into deep about how the developers of Raji almost went into debt. They were going to mortgage they did mortgage their flat and stuff.
I think one of them. I think he sold his apartment.
He was about to.
He was about. I think he did. I'm not sure. I did. I just skimmed through the article.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read it quite a while back. I think he did or he didn't do. But then just at the last moment, like Epic came and they're like, here's funding for your game, stuff like that.
That was pretty cool, man.
Very nice. I'm very excited to see.
Just wanted to say, for every story like that, there's at least 10-20 studios which actually closed down. It's a very sad reality, and which is why I was making this play that if you find stuff like that, just support. I hope we get to cover more games from
support. Damn it.
I think we will come to that place. Then anyway, let's move. I think that's it about the Indian industry. We will just skim through it for today. Then next gen. I think that's the last topic for today. Next gen.
All right,
I'm excited.
Okay, before you guys mention your new games, can we just talk about how GTA 5 has been in 3 different generations of consoles? Like we remember the old times. It was like GTA 3, San Andreas, and Vice City, and now it's like GTA 5 in the Xbox 360. I mean the PS3, GTA on the PS4, GTA 5 on the PS5. Like, I don't know. It's like I know like Rockstar is like the game is one of the most popular games out there. It's got like a lot of copies sold. I think even recently they sold close to like I think 400,000 units on the UK alone for lockdown. Which and we also know Epic Games, when they announced they're giving GTA 5 for free, they literally they broke the site and the client. Right.
And sales went up.
Yeah, sales went up too. Yeah,
they gave the game to free for a lot of people, and the sales went up, which is
how does that game still manage to sell? I have no.
Because online is a very sandbox kind of experience.
I'm like, at this point, at least everybody should have had that game. How are you still making the top 10 charts? I mean, it still makes the top 10 monthly charts. I'm like, how does it still...
I mean, see, I play the RP mod, right? It's like the same fleshed layout, is just different set of rules applied. It's still the same game though.
What's funnier is like monthly charts. Few months after Red Dead Redemption 2's release, GTA 5 is about Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Like, this game has no stops.
The best part is Red Dead Redemption 2 release. Red Dead Online did did not do as well.
I mean, you can't compare horses with like planes
and rail guns and tanks and super bikes and the DeLorean. Yeah, the list goes on.
Yeah. So anyway, next gen. I'm very excited.
So
you're the next gen guy.
Yeah.
The thing is, most people there's a very stupid console wars that going on, which I think does not exist anymore because everybody seems to be playing completely different games for the next gen. I think I made a post about it. Is like the major competitors, so-called Microsoft and Sony. They don't seem to be competing with each other. I think Microsoft is more competing with Google. I think it's a very smart. Yes. I think it's a very smart thing to do from Microsoft's end because they realized I do understand it was a response to how Sony kind of went with the PS4 and they had to get something to capitalize. But Game Pass is a beautiful thing, and I think their entire operation focus is shifting away from the console Xbox and more towards Game Pass. And Xbox is becoming the computer which
just
sells
living
Game
room
Pass.
computer. So
Yeah,
I want to double down on this. Xbox is going where Steam console or Steam box wanted to go.
exactly. And it's a very, and you can see the shift between two companies and the philosophies between an American company and a Japanese company, which is very true to their roots. These guys are completely for the consumers, and how do we make very compatible that makes it user friendly, that completely does away with the generation. I don't think they're believing in the generation thing with the next Xbox, right? Because they're more believing in how do we best transition people from this current to the next and make sure that everywhere you can play everything everywhere. And how we'll see how that plays out. Game Pass is a beautiful thing. When you go to PlayStation, they're still very traditional. They have that samurai kind of mentality, right? We believe in generation, we believe in iteration, we believe in this shift in quality and stuff, and our gameplay, our exclusives are going to make use of that hardware bump, right? You saw people make use of the SSD in the gameplay, and they've gone in depth on how the haptic feedback will be integrated into their exclusives. So they're believing in that. I think both are great ways to go, and I think the next generation is only going to benefit from both ways. My worry from Sony's end is, this is the thing I have worry from Japanese, is because they're so stubborn. Is like not noticing that sometimes understanding the market also helps. This always happens. This is not a thing that's specific to Sony. Everybody who has won a generation war gets something in
bit
their
cocky.
head, right? It happened with Nintendo. It happened with Xbox. I hope Sony takes their lesson. Yes, there are some really good things that Microsoft is doing, and Microsoft has taken lessons that there's something good Sony is doing, and they're incorporating that. I hope that Sony learns, but I'm very excited in the whole generation focus. They're very focused on their PSVR. They're very focused on how the audio will work with that. They're very focused on how to enhance technology to really, really push games forward. Again, if you're a gamer, there is really no competition. You're winning either ways. I'm just super excited about the next gen.
Yeah. I just want to point out something. A lot of people are talking about Xbox versus PS. What I want to talk about is instead how this generation seems a lot more solid than the generation that was released in 2013 showcase. I remember 2013 was a shit show in comparison to whatever we are seeing now. Right? Even with Microsoft being that bad with Halo, Microsoft is nowhere close to how bad they were in 2013 when they told army veterans who asked them, like, what about us? We don't have internet in Afghanistan where we are going on a war. How can we play Xbox One? And back then the brand lead, like the lead of Xbox, just said you can buy an Xbox 360, and that infuriated a lot of people.
Hey, you can see Microsoft sold a lot in the previous generation. They got cocky, right? They weren't exactly the most consumer friendly back then. So this humility actually always helps. It's always a cycle. So
and they're taking very different approach this time, which is nice. I expect a lot of good things this generation. I know there's a lot of bad things. Like, I won't say bad things. I'm saying like a like there's a lot of misses, like headshot misses, stuff like that. Specifically Halo, right? We all know like it's not looking up to par. It's not like even the development has been a bit wonky. Two creative directors leaving, a lot of shit happening inside. So hopefully, but where Halo, their Microsoft pristine franchise, is losing, I think Microsoft is doing a lot more with someone else they bought, which is Obsidian, right? I think Obsidian is going to be their trump card going into the future, and also we will have to see how Private Division, I think it's called, right? The new studio that they made from scratch. Private Division does, which is going to be interesting because it's a studio completely from scratch. They want to build completely new games. We haven't seen anything from them, and we'll probably see it next year.
This is why I'm more excited about that private studio, because if you notice, Sony studios were the first party studios. What people forget is like they formed them. These guys, they formed them when they were the little children, right? Like they formed them and then they grew them to a point. So you see how the games work, is like every the studios games kind of build upon each other because they have this very good ecosystem where they converse with each other because they grew up together.
Yeah,
that's what I'm excited with this private eye thing with Microsoft that you're saying, right? That they're growing it from scratch.
Private division, I think.
Yeah, what it shows promise is they're investing in an ecosystem.
Yeah, finally,
Yeah,
after so many years.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's promising a lot.
So I'm really excited to see not the initial games of Microsoft, but what Microsoft does the entire generation. I feel like in the entire generation, Microsoft might edge over Sony, because I feel like Sony is a bit underestimating Microsoft in certain aspects, especially with the Game Pass and how many people it might reach out by the end of this generation, right? If Game Pass continues by the end of the generation, it'll easily be the Netflix of games, because that's the best option anyone has right now.
I understand.
Stadia does not come close. Nvidia GeForce is like the next big thing. I think Nvidia GeForce is the bigger than Stadia easily. But even that doesn't come close in terms of the library and stuff, in terms of the value that you get for how much you pay. So that's very interesting. And Sony is, of course, doing what they do best, making very interesting games. So yeah, excited to see what happens next gen on PC as well, because all Xbox games are coming to PC, which is going to be fun.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah, I think that's about it from my end. I don't have much else to say. I will be talking about, preferably, I want to talk about something next week podcast, which is about Microsoft India. But I need more details before I want to talk about that. So it'll be interesting. Yeah. Anything else? Udit, Ratz, final words.
I'll be on.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, you can go first. No worries. I can take it last.
I'm just really glad to have done this again, man. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Good to finally be in the seat and do this. It's been fun, just like old times.
Yeah,
Hopefully we do this more.
Yeah.
And I hope if people actually see this, give us feedback on how we can improve, what we can do to actually tighten things up, and where we can make things better. That's it.
Yeah, like, see, for me, I'm hyped for Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm not gonna lie, like, initially we were supposed to come in the month of March, but they delayed it to November. And then while browsing on Twitter, I see Rishi Alwani, he posts like an image with the actual Cyberpunk themed letter, and I thought it was delayed again. And when I actually read the lines, it was lyrics to Rick Ashley's "Never Gonna Give You Up." That's like Rick rolling on another level, and I love that. I was like
he stole that from Facebook. I think he stole that from NGF or something. I saw that post first from NGF. I almost believed it, and then I was like, no, that's not possible. There would be more.
Like I just looked at like the theme, the design, and I was like, is it gonna be delayed again? Then I read the first line, we're no strangers to love, and I was like, God damn it, it's like I can hear the music in my I can hear the song in my head.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's about it for today. Really nice podcast. Thanks for joining. We'll do this again next week.
Hell yes.
We record this Sunday. We will try to push this out by Monday or max to max Tuesday every week.
So it's gonna be Tuesday, guys.
Yeah, we'll try putting this out by Monday. Let's see. And this is a more free-form podcast than whatever is happening in India podcast in gaming right now, where that's more structured. Like, we don't care. So in all seriousness, this podcast, as we go on, will probably go more off tangent rather than more structured. So yeah, it'll be fun.
I would love that.
Oh, by the way, Aman, I don't recall you calling introducing the podcast's name to the public. I know they can see. I know they can see. I know they can see like the overlay, and they know what the name is, but we haven't said it ourselves.
Also, podcasts are audio, so most people actually listen to.
Yeah.
This podcast is called the Bongshot, because I'm a bong. That's the.
I regret telling him already. Like, we should have just not.
Yeah. So yeah, watch us in the future. Tell us what you think about this one, and that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
Burning through another night, buzzing like a neon light. Turning up my speakers, got to block out all the voices. Think I'm going in.